Obamacare is a complete and utter disaster. We need to make sure that this year, and whatever budget document comes up at the end of the year, we once again defund that bailout fund. You, the American taxpayer, should not be bailing out Obamacare, and you should not be bailing out insurance companies that are participating in the fund.
Marco Rubio last week and a campaign stop in South Carolina calling for Congress to once again repeal an Obamacare provision allowing bailouts of health insurance companies that may have lost money. That money would come from taxpayer dollars, your money. The Senate began consideration today of a bill that would repeal major portions of Obamacare. Democrats will be unable to filibuster the bill because the budget procedure requires a 51-vote majority. And, of course, Republicans hold 54 seats. Intriguing indeed. Let's bring in our political panel. Joining us here on the anchor desk, managing editor of the Shark Tank, Javier Manjarres. Good to see you, Javi. Also with us, co-chairman of Jeb Bush for governor back in the day, Ed Pozzuoli. Good to have you with us here as well. Thank you both for joining us. All right, let's talk about this. Do you guys see the Senate action as anything different than what we've seen from Congress before? I mean, I guess they would be sending a bill to the president's desk they would have to veto, but does this really change the conversation, Ed?
No, it doesn't change the conversation, but it does at least show that the Senate is trying to move the ball. They have taken some real grief in the past from the core Republican voters by not having any action, not putting up any fight. This is at least putting to the president a bill, whether he's not going to sign it, but he's going to veto it for sure. But it puts up something that says, we don't stand for this, and it shows where the Republican Party stands, and at least the Senate is drawing some line in the sand.
Marco Rubio has spoken a lot about repealing Obamacare when he's in Washington. Ted Cruz has as well. Javi, who does this fight help more, Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio?
I think it helps them both out. I think I've always said that it's going to boil down to these two guys until this guy by the name of Donald Trump got in the race. But I think the race is going to narrow down, and the Obamacare issue is going to be is going to be in the forefront. And it's not going to help either. I mean, it's not going to hurt either one. It's going to help both of them because they've both been on the forefront of this fight against Obamacare to repeal it.
A lot of talk, Ed, about Marco Rubio's recent surge. Probably not going to win Iowa, maybe not New Hampshire. You get to South Carolina, he probably can't win there either. Is it only Florida? Is it the SEC primary? Is that where he really makes his, if he's going to make a run, is that really where it happens?
But it's got to happen somewhere because you can't just come in third or fourth every time. You've got to win somewhere. You've got to break out. Iowa is an anticipated conservative core, social conservatives historically, went for Buchanan, went for, Santorum, went for Huckabee. Right. So you have that. And realistically, Ted Cruz is probably best suited, assuming Donald Trump fades. That's a big assumption.
He's making a big investment in Iowa, trying to be in all 99 counties, as it were. Ben Carson looked good there, but his campaign has faltered.
Yeah, what if Trump wins Iowa? What does that say?
Well, I think then New Hampshire becomes increasingly more important. Right. And if Trump wins Iowa and New Hampshire, and then the dominoes start to fall. Right. But it will be interesting to see. A lot of folks, I think, are Trump fans more than they are Trump voters, and things will change. I think, anyway, but what do I know? Let's talk about Jeb Bush a little bit. Flatlined in the polls. Ed, you've worked with Jeb in the past. What is the problem here? They're dumping tons of money on TV. Nothing seems to work.
Well, you would think that after the Paris attacks, you talk about Obamacare, Paris attacks now are terrorism. ISIS is the big issue. And maybe there's a shock system inside of Republican voters that say, hey, we need to have a serious candidate. Who can we envision sitting in the Oval Office? Jeb Bush is one of those people. I think Jeb's campaign is relying on organization and money. Now, that's the old formula. Today, there's something different going on. Whether or not Donald Trump fades, whether or not he can overcome somebody like Marco Rubio, that's something to be said. But organizationally, he does have 20 offices open in New Hampshire, and he does have plenty of money.
He's got a lot riding on New Hampshire.
I tell you a couple months ago to keep an eye out for Ted Cruz.
I think you did, Javi.
I think I did.
I
just want to put that out there.
But there was 10 things you said. That was the one that actually came true.
Well, yeah. I also said that Bush is probably going to fade quickly, and who knew?
Well, Marco Rubio he's kind of a chameleon. He's able to appeal to conservative voters, but I think really he's an establishment-style candidate. Marco Rubio, do you think he can really galvanize and unite the base and the other wings of the Republican Party?
It's going to be an interesting dichotomy between Cruz, where Cruz is staking out territory, and Rubio. Rubio is still taking kind of the neocon approach, be more aggressive, similar to Jeb Bush. Right. On the other hand, you have Ted Cruz, who's pulled back a little bit about getting too much involved in foreign entanglements, and a little bit different, which, let's be honest, Donald Trump struck a chord with Republican voters when he said, let's bomb the blank out of them when referring to ISIS. which essentially meant that he wasn't going to. He didn't talk about putting boots on the ground.
It'll be interesting. Go ahead, Javier.
I agree. Marco, I think, his message transcends across all party lines. But the one issue he's going to have, and it's going to continue to hurt him, is the fact that he embraced the President Obama's agenda, meaning the immigration agenda. He embraced it. He has to live with it, and there's nothing he can do about that. There's the images, the optics speak a million
Huge
words.
obstacle for Rubio. Ed, 15 seconds. Can he get over that?
I think he can. The question is whether or not he has organizational power in New Hampshire. So ultimately, you got to turn votes out.
Right. You got to get.
And so organizational power, both and across, especially when we get to the SEC kind of week when you have 7 or 8 of these primaries at once.
Yeah, a lot of popularity for Trump in the South. We'll see what happens. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us. Ed Pozzuoli, Javier Manjarres, down in the swamp, Florida politics. Thanks, gentlemen.
The swamp.
All right, after the break, should Iraqi Christian refugees be given preference to get into this country? We'll talk to Christian advocate Juliana Tamarezi about that when we return. You've probably heard about the shocking new book, Unlikable, The Problem with Hillary Clinton by Edward Klein. Unlikable has already hit the top of the bestseller list and might be the most powerful expose on Hillary ever written. Inside Unlikable, Klein offers a stunning, powerful expose of Clinton's and her race for the White House. The unprecedented access in the book, Klein uses it to meticulously recreate conversations in details of Clinton's behind-the-scenes plotting. Unlikable also reveals the angry rivalry between Hillary Clinton and President Obama. Unlikable retails for $29.95, but now you can get it absolutely free with an exclusive offer for our Newsmax viewers. Just go online, newsmax.com/Klein, or call 1-800-850-8749. That's 1-800-850-8749. With the 2016 election approaching fast, you need to get Unlikable and be armed with the truth about Hillary. Call right now and take part in this free offer.